Hello and welcome to Tears Tulle Talk, a podcast that's dedicated to celebrating women who are reconnecting with their color from within the harder times of life. I am so excited to be here with you today, Lesley, and I would love you just to tell listeners a little bit more about yourself.
Hi, Gina. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity to talk to you from New Zealand. So how exciting. So I'm a sand artist. I draw in the sand, and I also create in the sand, like those great big sand castles and things that you see. So I've been to a couple of competitions in the States, in San Diego at Imperial Beach, and worked with teams of people there who are just the most amazing people. And then in New Zealand here, I've in the last year and a half been drawing these amazing big, like 80 meters. I worked that out, 87 yards, I think it is. Yeah. Creations in the sand. There's an amazing beach here that I have that's just down the road for me that I'm able to do that. So that's super special.
And I can't wait to hear more about your sand creations as we dive a little bit deeper into this podcast. But we do start every Tears Tulle Talk podcast with a Tears Tulle moment. So for anyone who's just joining us for the first time today, the Tears Tulle movement is a project that follows a rainbow tulle skirt to the homes of 52 women in 52 weeks across the United States and Canada. Each woman pairing that skirt with something black to represent her ability to show up from within the darker times of life and reconnect with her color. That project has since evolved into a global celebration with Tears Tulle Trailblazers, which is what Lesley is, and Tears Tulle Tribes as well. It has evolved and it is growing, and Lesley is part of that magic. So when people do go off of the podcast and find you online, they will see the most beautiful sand art and your experience with your own skirt and your own tribe and this magic that you made in the sand. So I just can't wait to hear what your experience was like. Just anything you want to share with us would be so great.
All right. Well, so my Tears Tulle moment. Shall I share that first? So
oh yes, sorry. Back up, people. That's exactly right. So we do the Tears Tulle moment, which is a even when, especially then moment, which is the heart of Tears Tulle, is showing up from within those struggles. So we have an even when, especially then, means we say something positive about ourselves, even when something unexpected happens. And then we end with especially then. So backing that up, I would love to hear your Tears Tulle moment first.
Sure. So this has been a very recent one for me. So it's I am courageous even when I go into overwhelm about sad or exciting things and feelings, especially then.
Oh, I love that. Especially then. Thank you for sharing your heart, especially then. Yes. All right. I was so excited to hear about your experience with the skirt that I jumped ahead. So why don't we get started with that? And the pictures are just incredible. It's like this beautiful tribe of women just came around you, and it's like you can feel the energy of your photos right through the computer screen or the phone screen. So please do share what that day was like, what your experience has been. We'd love to hear all about it.
Thank you. It was such an amazing day, and it was so incredible because, like I had the go ahead from you just the day before about being a trailblazer, and I was like, wow, this is the perfect moment. So I drew my yoni in the sand on the 11th, the 11th of January. So all the ones, 111, and and it was about deepening the divine feminine energy. And so there were 11 women who came along, and from all over the place. And my friend who lives in Turkey was even here. So it was just this beautiful gathering of women, and we had intergenerational as well as the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So it was just so beautiful. And yeah, and we just created my yoni in the sand, and that was really important for me to draw my own yoni. You know, I've done some, I love Laura Holick, she's just like one of my people, and done a lot of her yoni work, but you know, it was really important for me to place myself in that space, which was confronting for some people, but you know, just felt beautiful for me. So yeah, so with my skirt, like I had no way of getting anything together. So what I'd done was I'd taken a curtain and I have some tulle hanging over my bed, because I have sticks and fairy lights and everything. It's like a beautiful magical grotto, my bedroom, and took it down to the sand with a piece of elastic, and my friend just tucked everything in for me. I had a white dress on, changed it into my black dress in the middle of the beach, and then she just tucked all the fabric in around me, and then all those beautiful women just held it out and held me, and then I had my fairy wings on as well. So it was just like super magical. So it was so special.
It is the most it's so beautiful. It really does look like some kind of fairy garden picture that you would see in a storybook somewhere. It's just everything's flowing, and everyone seemed to be so connected to you in that photo, and it is just such an inspirational piece that I think people will enjoy for years to come throughout the Tears Tulle movement. And I just thank you. I thank you for adapting to, I love when you sent me a message, you said, oh, I have to show you this curtain. And I was like, oh my gosh, she pulled these things from her home. And then it all just came together. And I feel like it shows so much of, I know I work with this myself, but not waiting until life is perfect to dive in and connect with your creativity. And for so many of us, especially me included in that, I can do that. I can want things to be a certain way. And just to hear your story about, that curtain and that piece of tulle and going out onto the beach was really very special, very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that part of your life with us.
Oh no, it's right. It was just amazing. It just topped the whole. It was just such a beautiful event anyway, but just having that and as part of it was just super magical. So it was just amazing. And I just looked at something that I wrote about it, and I said it was amazing standing in a special circle of women, the pleasure center that we had made and nurtured for me to stand there in all my uniqueness and full womanness and goddessness.
Well, that sums it up. That is the perfect wording to go with the photos and your journey. Yes, that's just beautiful. Thank you again. So I'm wondering what you. I usually ask people what they wanted to be when they were small, and if that lines up with what you've created from within this project. So I'm curious as to what you might have wanted to be when you were a girl, and if any of what you're doing now lines up with that, or whatever your thoughts on that might be.
Yeah. Well, when I was a little girl, I loved fairies, dressed up as fairies. So it's a total fairy, total fairy. And my youngest daughter, who's now 25, she's a total fairy as well. And for 3 or 4 years, I wrote to her as a fairy. She would leave little letters beside the bed at night, and I would write things. And we went through this whole process where she, wrote little stories or made little things, and I kept everything in a shoebox and gave it all back to her for her 21st. So which was really special.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That is so magical. And all that was probably happening from within real life, you know, and here you
Yeah,
are
totally.
experiencing.
Yeah, I had three children under 4, so it was a busy time, but it was but yeah, it was really important to me. But with my fairy wings at the moment, we just here in New Zealand, we've just gone to what's called level 2. So we've gone back, the schools have gone back, and I've been back since the beginning, which was called a bubble school, when there was only like 40 children as opposed to the 800 children that are at my school. And I decided to wear my fairy wings. I normally once a week walk around at lunchtime with my fairy wings on, and I just have all these children just under my wings. It's so beautiful, and they just come up and hug me and everything. But I just thought, I'm just going to stand there, and for them to be able to connect to that part for them, that whatever that was for them. And so there was all of the principal and the deputies all at the top of the gate, and then I was just standing further down, just dancing actually. And then they all just walked past me, and they were like, "Hi, good morning, how are you?" And it was so beautiful, honestly, Gina. And even the older boys, so our school goes up to 11-year-olds, and who normally when they see me in the playground, they just like kind of like you know, go around me, but they were connecting and just saying good morning to me as well, you know. Like, so I felt that it was massively important for them to be able to connect their magical being into this space. And that first day I just wore my wings all day. Whatever classroom I went into, I just was wearing my fairy wings all day. So yeah.
Wow. So cool. I just got a visual of you with these wings on, and kind of like the skirt, just it kind of gives people permission to stop what they're doing and just connect for a moment with that magic, you know, before we have any labels or before we're supposed to be anything, and just being able to connect in that space. Super cool. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, no, it's been an amazing experience, and I've really felt in my heart and my soul that this is my time, and I just do it my way, you know. I do what feels right to me. And I always talk to anyone at school, so I'm a teacher aide, so I work with our special sensitive children, and I always say, if it feels right to you, do it that way, because that's what that is, you know. If that's the way you learn, teach it that way, you know. Because I teach completely outside of the box, and I work with children in the sand at school as well. My schools support me with what I do there. And you know, like the last 2 days I've been digging holes with the boys in the long jump pit, which is like a giant sand pit, and we just go in there and dig holes, or we make creations, we make sandcastles and stuff. But I just thought that maybe they just wanted to dig a hole, you know. So that's what we did.
Oh, I love it that I had no idea that this, you know, that your sand art was also connected to you connecting with kids. You know, that's just super fun. Very cool. Thank you for sharing.
Tell people I get paid to play. That's what I do.
Very cool. And on that note, you continue to inspire me with your message. And I'm wondering who in the world right now is inspiring you? Is someone that you look to for guidance?
Well, certainly Laura Hollick. I mean, yeah, and that creating the new is that she's just been working through has just been outstanding. And her total embodiment of herself as creativity is, I just love that, you know, because I have children say to me, "Are they your real clothes?" And I go, "Yeah," and they go, so do you go to the mall like that?
Yes, I do.
So I think I'm out there to break these perceived perceptions about what's normal and what's not as well, which is beautiful, but in a magical way, and in a way they can express that and ask that, you know, which is so cool. So yeah, so certainly Laura, and then there's a beautiful woman I've been working with at the moment called Libby Wallace, who's just a beautiful, inspirational. So she's been working with me in this special container called Magnetic Mastermind that we started on Valentine's Day, and there's 7 women from around the world, and it's about creating your soul business, and yeah, so that's just been amazing. Yeah, being part of that container and with these incredible 7 inspiring women from around the world. So yeah.
Sounds like important work for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, so I had reached out to you about becoming a trailblazer, and you were one of the very first women. There's a handful of first women that showed up and courageously just ran with it, or blazed a trail with it. And I'm wondering, you said yes, and you know, you replied in such a graceful, beautiful way to my request, and I'm wondering why you said yes. What was it about the project, or what was it in your own heart that made you feel connected to Tears Tulle?
Well, I love the skirt. Who doesn't love a rainbow skirt, Gina? Like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Number one. So I totally connected with the skirt. And then I was just like, wow, she's sending around these amazing people in the world. Like, maybe I can convince her to send it to New Zealand. I remember that was what I asked, you know.
Oh, I'm working on a hopefully there'll be a global skirt at some point, a rainbow one. I'm working on that behind the scenes. Hopefully someday.
Beautiful. But and it was so funny because it didn't even occur to me that maybe you already had a plan, you know. I was just like, oh wow, let's just jump in there and do it, you know. So yeah, so I was really excited about what you do, and I think the story that jumped out to me at the time when I was following it was the woman who wore it to the gynecologist, like that. I can't remember her name, but I was just like, wow, that's so cool, you know, just talking particularly about our woman and our body, and because that's such a huge message, you know. And so I was like, wow, this is something I really feel in my soul I want to be part of, you know, my heart and my soul. So yeah, so that's when I contacted you, and then we had conversations from there, and then it's also what I do. Like over this time I've really realized as well that that's actually what I do. I step into the unknown, you know, that I trailblaze it, and I don't have any fear about that, you know. That's it's almost like my happy place, if that makes sense, you know, because as a creative being, that's what you do, don't you? You're creating all the time, so you're stepping into this unknown, and so it's the perfect blank canvas, which is what I call my sand, you know. When people ask me, how can you do all that work and then watch it wash away, and I say, because, you know, Mother Earth gives me a blank canvas the next day to start again, you know. Isn't that perfect? So
oh my gosh, I have to share something with you right now, because it's so the synchronicity, it just seems to be in perfect alignment. So Liz Corwin, she wore the skirt several months back around Christmas time, and she was the first person I interviewed for this podcast a couple of weeks ago. And she was mentioning how a child builds a sandcastle, and then I forget how it goes. I don't know if it's water that takes it, or they actually kind of mush it up themselves or whatever. And the parents go, why? It was so beautiful. And I forget the exact words, but the child says something like, you know, it was just done from a creative place. It wasn't for anyone. It wasn't, and I don't remember the exact words because it was a while back, but you just reminded me so much of that moment with her, and how your creations, they're just part of everything, you know. They're part of the water, and they're part of the sand, and they're part of the people. And I'm actually like getting a little choked up about it, because that makes so much sense that that would be what you're explaining as your experience too, that the water takes that art into the sea basically. And
it does. And I
wow.
always make an intention around that as well, that whatever I've created, that the sea takes it, the ocean takes it out to, you know, spreading that message of love, or spreading that message of peace, or like over this time I went to the beach maybe a couple of weeks later, and I got like a really big no, it wasn't time to draw anything, and I just went and sat, and that was fine. And then when I felt that it was time to go, I went and drew, and it was like I signed my name in the sand to say that I would only create from love and joy. And yeah, like and so that's really, really important to me. And so it's made my sand art much more sacred. And you know, I've always worked with the elements, but as you say, they're all part of it. You know, the earth that I'm drawing on, the water that comes and goes and gives me the blank canvas every day, the fire, which is, you know, the fire in me, the passion to do it, and then the air, which adds whatever the day is, and the air for me to breathe to be able to do that. So, but working with the water is phenomenal, because depending on what I'm doing, if it's something that I always think, if the water thinks it's a really great idea, it'll come and take it away. So you can't have any expectations that you're going to get the most perfect photo, because, you know, sometimes a massive big wave will come and take it away, but that's okay, because it's gone like, I want some more of that, you know, give me some more of that, you know. And then other times it'll just gently kiss right around your whole design, you know, and not take it away. It's just so beautiful, the interaction with the water and what I create. It's phenomenal.
That is so cool. That is such a cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
I love that visual too, of the water coming when it's ready, and
Yes.
taking this love with it, and this fire that you have in your heart, you know, that burns inside of you, and just sort of, wow, that's really, really cool, Lesley. Thank you. So where can people find you? Where in the world can they see this sand art and be able to connect with you in that way?
So Sand Magic by Lesley is my name for everything. So Lesley, spelt the girl's way as I grew up. That's how you did. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I've just got a little page set up now that people can contact me through. So sandmagicbylesley.com, and yeah, and then people can have a look at my work, and yeah. So it'd be lovely to hear from people, and there's quite a lot of people in America, and there's another group that I belong to, and they always talk about my sand art, and it's something that I've noticed there's quite a lot of men in the world doing, but not many women. I've only come across one other woman in Australia who she does these amazing mandalas. I tend to draw more enchanted dragons and phoenixes and all that sort of thing, but when I'm doing my sacred sand art, it's a whole incredible process for that person to expand their being, you know. And I really feel now that I don't know if you know about the Hopi and the Cree, they have that prophecy about how we're here at this time to be the Rainbow Warriors, and that's you know, in New Zealand, if you talk about the Rainbow Warriors, there used to be a Greenpeace ship that was around that got bombed in the 80s, and so like to say to a New Zealander about being a Rainbow Warrior is like massive, and that I feel like I'm here to help rebirth excuse me, wow, rebirth the Rainbow Warriors in this time and place. So
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing your light and your heart, and you know, showing up from within this pandemic, and really shining your light. I loved having you on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gina. Thanks so much for the opportunity. It's been wonderful.